We are in round 1. And we have FriMeka versus Koopary. Both players going into it. Playing at max speed. So FriMeka is going for a GTR. Koopary has more like an L shape here. Koopary seems to want to go for attacks, but isn't getting the exact pieces they want. Their chain getting completely mangled here, but ends up turning into a harassment, and that FriMeka isn't able to counter. Takes the first round. FriMeka with another GTR, while Koopary building some other chain form. Definitely looks to be more based on L shape. Seems to be going for a lot of attacks after setting up a solid foundation. Koopary a lot more on the aggressive side. I haven't seen many attacks from FriMeka in here. FriMeka with another GTR, while Koopary with an interesting base here. Again, just wants to go for attacks now. FriMeka on the aggressive, however, does... Oh, that is good to show aggression. FriMeka's attack there was very devastating to their transition. It's definitely very appealing to want to go for an attack with such a clean transition like that, but you also got to remember that you have a clean transition that you can take advantage of, and you want to focus your harassments onto another part of your board rather than sacrificing, unless you know for sure that your harassment will land. FriMeka setting up that two power chain harassment, working in their favor. We're only with a 2 chain. It's taking a few pieces of garbage, but when this high up, these pieces of garbage are very brutal. Less room means less error. FriMeka setting off their full chain. Koopary is definitely struggling with their path to their main chain. Oh, FriMeka's chain actually cut. And Koopary was given no time to dig. FriMeka takes their first round. FriMeka showing some more aggression on that last round, really paying off. As, I mean, just look at how flat Koopary's chain is. When your chain's flatter, it's more susceptible to harassments. So when playing flat, you definitely gotta be careful on when you can and can't take harassments. Now it does hurt their chain quite a bit with all those powers, but FriMeka is able to get the chain off rather than taking a deadly harassment. And Koopary is not able to get the colors they need to set off their chain. Okay. Koopary with another interesting chain form. FriMeka going with another GTR. Again, Koopary with the flat form, but not entirely flat, as they're still able to set off a pretty strong counter. FriMeka uses some of the resources on their board. It does cut their chain. They're still able to get through to their tail. Their tail's gonna be their main carrier here, and it is enough to offset. Koopary is ready with another counter, however. And only takes a few pieces. FriMeka at an advantage right now with their time that they have. They've been able to set up a strong chain, while Koopary is a lot more time constrained here, and their chain cannot be as efficient. And FriMeka takes that round, bringing it up to a tie.
So I won.
I feel like FriMeka has adapted a little to Koopary's playstyle here. Just at the start, I noticed FriMeka was focusing a lot more on chaining, and Koopary was able to take advantage of that and attack a lot more. But FriMeka has definitely switched to a little more aggression, and it's really going a long way as it really hurts Koopary's chaining style. Koopary setting off a all-out harassment here, but FriMeka not able to... It seemed like they were really struggling there. They were probably preparing for Koopary's harassment and just wasn't able to get it in time. It's not enough time to work with. FriMeka with a hard to work tail here. Turns their entire second floor into a harassment. Koopary just does not have the yellow they need, but actually, in setting off there for second floor as their chain, they exactly offset. Koopary needs a strong tail here, which they do have, and FriMeka does not have a response.
Too bad.
We have another all-clear start. Koopary not really caring about the column 3 here. Does not want to go for a counter setup. You know, FriMeka is applying some pressure and simply takes out Koopary. Koopary stacked really high in column 3. And that's a very important thing to look out for in an all-clear start, is you should try to avoid building in column 3 just so that you have room against sudden attacks. Counter setups are a very strong way to win all-clear setups, but of course they come at the cost of your chain just not being as... It's being a lot harder to set up, so your chain won't be as efficient. FriMeka taking a lot of attacks here, but is able to do it with how they stack their blues and yellows. Koopary wanting to finish this off with a follow-up. Koopary's chain's gonna need to compete with that tail, and just isn't quite enough. FriMeka definitely calculating the height of their chain there. They definitely looked at it and saw, I can take that, and with the pieces I have, I can still set off my chain. Well, it kind of sounded like I was talking about myself, but that's, from my understanding, that was FriMeka's thought process. Koopary on an aggressive rampage here. Goes for a very strong attack here, but Koopary is just ready. They notice that... They just notice that Koopary isn't in much of a situation to really get their chain off, but they actually do get their chain off, which is interesting. I was just looking at it, I didn't see like a path. They have a very exotic tail there.
Too bad.
Takes out FriMeka, bringing it to match point. FriMeka has shown a lot of signs that they are definitely able to beat Koopary, but Koopary definitely does a lot of... Koopary does a lot of mysterious plays that can be really hard to adapt to when they just kind of come out of nowhere. And their chain form is very abstract or irregular. Koopary going for a very risky harassment here. Is able to get it off. His one chains were... Oh, actually, harassment turns into their main chain. And this interesting wraparound, well, wanting to wrap around tail. Unfortunately, it did not work. But it was still a strong chain. However, FriMeka with a much cleaner chain here. Gets a 10, but Koopary's powers and their chain is able to keep them ahead of FriMeka's. That was a very interesting set. There's a lot of back and forth and a whole lot of just interesting plays. Well played.